Hello, everybody, and happy Tuesday. Welcome to class. Today, what we're going to be doing is reviewing for our short story skills test, which is next class. So we've been practicing reading things and responding, answering things about figurative language, identifying different devices that the authors use, and figuring out why they use those things and how they work in the story to make it a better story. What we're going to do now is be taking a test over these skills. And the tricky thing probably about our class is that we are not asking you questions over the stories that we already read. Sure, we read them and now you know them and have them in your brain. You have a bank of stories that you can refer back to and use as examples in life and in class and writing and whatnot. But our actual test is about the skills that we learned and practiced while we were reading those stories. So if you jump in here to Schoology, you can click on this and see the review for the test. This will open and basically it tells you again, you're going to be reading passages that you have not seen before and answering questions about those. The good news is you can use any of our notes from class to help you out on this test. You can also use this close reading study guide, and you can use a dictionary website, anything like that that will help you succeed on this test. You'll get to use on the test on Thursday. So if you scroll through here, the main terms that we need to know are all listed and defined and given some examples for a lot of them. So I'm going to go over them really quickly with you, just to breeze through these so you hear them once. But then I do suggest you reading through this whole thing again a little later, either during class or before class, maybe on Wednesday, or before class on Thursday. So the first term you need to know is inference. That's basically when you come to a conclusion based on information that you are given in the story. Mood. That's the way that you, the reader, feels as you're reading something. It's developed because of the way the author writes, the terms they use, the figurative language they use. All of those things help contribute to our mood, the way we feel as we're reading something. Tone is the author's attitude. So mood is our attitude, tone is the author's attitude. So how do they, what are their feelings about the subject matter? Imagery is descriptive language that appeals to one of the senses. The most important thing here for you to remember is that it has to appeal to one of the senses. It cannot count as imagery if you just say like the car. Well, the car, that's not really appealing to any of my senses. You need to say like the shining blue 1968 Corvette with leather that smelt as fresh as can be, and tires blowing up grass as it drove by. Then we get a way better description or image in our head. We can see the color of it. We can smell the leather. We can see and feel the wind from the tires, blowing by. So that would be imagery. So make sure that if it's a question about imagery, it has to appeal to one of the senses. The next term is simile, a comparison using like or as. So anytime you use like or as. Metaphor is a comparison just using a direct comparison. Something is something else. Setting, the time and place where a story takes place. Conflict is basically the main thing that drives any story. It's what the issue that we have that has to be resolved. It can be internal or external. So man versus man versus nature, man versus society, man versus self. Keep going. Theme is just a universal truth about humankind that we learn or gain insight to from the story. And telling details are specific facts or quotes kind of from the story that help give us more information. I also threw on here some parts of speech. This thing might be helpful. We kind of went over the parts of speech during one of the classes, but I put this here for you to refer to also. And then finally, if you scroll down a little further, I just have this thing about context clues. Like if you don't know what a word means when you're reading something, you can maybe look at words around it to help you figure it out. And so that is our test review. If you go back here, what we're doing today in class is you're going to be doing kind of a practice test. So I think this will help you get an idea for how the questions will look, what's going to be on the test, the way we want you to think while you're testing, just to get some practice with that. It's a little harder than our literary, terms, things that we've been doing. And it's just to get you practicing with a cold read text, so something you haven't read before. So what you're going to do today is you're going to read this passage from The Sound of Thunder. I suggest using Kami to open it. So if you right click on this, you should be able to click open with Kami. And oops, uh-oh. Okay, so let's try again. If you click on this and just open it, let's just open it up like normal. It'll pull up the PDF, and then click open with and annotate with Kami. I think it's super helpful to have a piece that you can highlight and work with as you're reading it. So this way, as you're reading, if you want to highlight something, you can. If you want to make some notes in the text, you can. And when you're answering the questions, you can go back and highlight where you got them from. You don't have to, you're not going to turn this into me. I just want you to have the option to do that. If you just want to read it as a PDF, that's fine too. But so this is just a small excerpt from A Sound of Thunder, which is a science fiction short story by Ray Bradbury. He writes a lot of science fiction pieces, and he's a really awesome author if you want to check him out. But it tells about Eccles, who is a man who has, he pays a lot of money to travel back in time and to go hunt for dinosaurs. And so this is an excerpt from that story. If you want to listen along, I queued up this link right here. You can open this and it will start where the short story starts. So open it up, it starts at 13 minutes, 40 seconds in. This audio will pick up right where your excerpt begins. And it's like, I think 5 minutes total that you can listen along with for the excerpt that you have. So after you read the piece, then what I suggest you do is come here and complete the practice. This is going to be for a grade, but the good news is you get 3 different chances to make the highest grade possible. You can look over your answers and see the ones you got wrong, and then you can go back and try again. If you have questions though, feel free to pop in and ask me, and I can help you out. So it's 10 questions long. You get 3 tries to do the best you possibly can. I suggest having this open in one window and having the story kind of open over here so that you can go back and forth and, check as you go. That's a good strategy for the test also on Thursday. So after you complete that and submit it, then that's where we end for the day. That's all the things that you have to get done. I also linked a Kahoot here in case you want some extra practice while you're at home or anytime before the test, just to go over some things that are going to be on there. So I suggest you do that. It's I don't know, Kahoots are always fun, but that's for you there. If you finish all these things and there's time left in class, I suggest you go back and look and see if you're missing anything from my class. Did you turn in the things I haven't graded yet are from 2 classes ago, I guess, is what we would want to look at let's see here. Either this Lambs of Slaughter assignment part 2 or part 1. So if you haven't turned those in, make sure you do that. Also, last class, if you didn't get to finish the skills practice, you can do that. Or look at the things that are in the grade book. If any of that says it's missing, like the register test or the Dear Me letter, some of us are still missing those, make sure you go in and do that. And that's all we are doing for today. If you're watching this right now, it might be because I am not in class. I have a doctor's appointment, so I'm hoping that I can be with you live, but if not, then watch this. And if you have any questions though, I will have it open on my phone that I can answer questions for you. I just might not have been able to go through all this thing with you. So I hope that you have a fabulous Tuesday. It's a little less rainy today, so I don't know, maybe that's kind of good. And let me know if you need anything. I'm here to help you. Okay, bye.